Hello everyone, welcome to today's deck profile. I'm Radiant and here is my standard Orfist deck profile. Let's get straight to it. This is our ride line. As you can see, we are running the standard starter, Fovi. If you go second, you draw a card. Rautis, which searches us one of our orders. And the grade 2 slot, which normally would be Cubicia. This is currently replaced with the Combine Rusher, which you can then guarantee to have in your soul, that you can soul blast out for your costs. And you have him at the ready whenever you have the CP to spend on it. Of course, our main grade 3, Orfist Regis. We'll go over his skills once we're at the grade 3s. For our grade 3s, we are running 3 extra copies of Orfist Regis. Now, his main skill is when he is placed on the Vanguard Circle, you can choose up to 1 world card from your hand or drop, and you can put it into the order zone. Meaning you don't have to pay your cost to put it into the order zone. So if you have a counterblast cost, that fades away. If you have a soul blast cost, that fades away. And it allows you to set an additional order that you can play from hand. So that's an insane ability to speed up your order count. And secondly, his ability on attack. If you have an Abyssal Dark Night, you can counterblast one and discard a card from hand. And then you can check how many world orders you have in your order zone. And for each 2, you can call a Shadow Army token. Then he gains power plus 5,000 for each one of those as well. So meaning the more you ramp it up, the more order counts you have, the bigger he becomes. Now our support grade 3 unit is Cardinal Dragon Nuvarea. When he attacks, he gains plus 2k for every order that you have in your order zone. And other effect is when he gets retired through any means, so your opponent attacking, him getting retired, him getting overcalled, you can call a Shadow Army token, which means that in combination with Orfist, you can call out an additional one. Now for our orders, we have a spread of 7 orders, which might be on the lighter hand, but we'll get to it when we do. We're running 4 copies of the Overcoming an Eternity. This says when you have it in the order zone, whenever a Shadow Army token is called, it gains plus 5k. So getting all 4 of them in your order zone means you can get a 20k buff to your Shadow Army tokens. Of course, if you haven't seen those, this is your Shadow Army token, a 15k body, super handy. The other 2, the Howling Moonlit Night, just says when it comes into the order zone, you can draw a card. The other one, the Eclipsed Moonlight, just says that you can call a Shadow Army token. This one is usually your go-to search target with your grade 1, but if you already have it in hand, you can get any of the other ones, so you can start discarding it for your ride deck. So your most important thing is to get these in your hand or drop zone as soon as possible, so always look out for that. Now for our remaining grade 2s, we are running 4 copies of Aiding Monsters Dekyen, which is a personal favorite of mine. It's so adorable. He says when he is discarded from your hand for the cost of one of your cards, you can check the top 5 cards of your deck and add an order card to your hand. This whiffs often, we only have 7 orders, but the fact that Orfist discards, your ride deck discards, it gives you those extra searches. So it's just handy to have him around. Our other grade 2 is Skullmajid. He says if you're in Dark Knight or Abyssal Dark Night, he gets the boost ability. And if you're in Abyssal Dark Night, he gains plus 10k shield. So you can intercept with him. He can also intercept from the back row, which is incredibly useful. He's basically, an additional shield that you have as a booster for your Orfist. Alternatively, you could run 2 copies of Alviderd. If you have a locals that has quite a retire heavy, pieces that need to get retired, you could run Alviderd here as well. Next up for our grade 1s, we are running 4 copies of the Perfect Guard. You could run 1 copy of the Order PG as well, which is findable with the Tekton if I'm not mistaken. 4 copies of Thumbarino. She gives you an additional 15k when you boost a Shadow Army token, and when after they've attacked, you can tire both of them to draw a card. This is a mandatory effect, but it allows you to get an extra card in hand, but allows you to get the extra pressure off in the early game. So having that as soon as possible is an incredible combo. And then lastly, the 2 copies of Kagula. She gets the ability to Soul Charge, which if you get unlucky and you have to pay the costs for your orders, you will run out of soul. She lets you Soul Charge 1, but if you are in Abyssal Dark Night, you can Soul Charge 2 instead. And on the rear guard, you can Soul Blast 1 and retire her to call a Shadow Army token. And if you have those grade 3 orders, that gains a lot of power as well, so that's incredibly handy. For triggers, as you may see, we are not running draws. Honestly, this deck's main weakness is that it does not have too much hand, but it has insane pressure and insane rush. You have a few cards that it allows you to draw. You have a bit of shields. Honestly, you out-pressure your opponent as much as possible. And for that reason, I'm currently more comfortable with running those fronts to just get higher and higher numbers. If you want to run draws, you could, but honestly, for me, it felt like running fronts just felt better. You're not gonna win, resource-wise. The deck discards too much, doesn't regain all too much, and therefore I think this is the better option. But you can have a different opinion on that. Of course, we do run the 7 crits, because getting more pressure on your Shadow Army tokens is also useful. And of course, the over trigger. It's the best one that there is, in my opinion, so why not run it? But yeah, that's it for the deck. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to ask me my opinion on certain deck choices, you can definitely do so in the comments. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.